In this video, we're looking at things that you can't put in your will. Or rather, you can physically write them in your will, but they aren't legally binding in any way. Many people seem to think that wills are cover-all and sacred in some way, but that just isn't true. We've done quite a few videos on wills on this channel, so check those out. And please like and subscribe if you find this video informative. Now let's talk what you can't put in your will. Funeral arrangements. We're not sure when, but somewhere along the way, writing funeral arrangements into your will became a thing, even though it was never legally binding. Perhaps it's because people only want to fill out one form, who knows? There are two reasons you can't write about your funeral arrangements in your will. First is the legal aspect. Your body technically isn't property, so it can't be part of your estate, which is what a will is for. You can try to include burial preferences in your will, but because your body isn't under the estate's control, your wishes may not be carried out according to your plan. The second reason is a practical one. Often your will won't be found before your funeral, especially if you didn't bother to tell anyone where you kept it. Remember all those death conversations that I keep harping on about having with your family? Well, this is one of them. If it's important to you, then you need to be telling your family what you want for your funeral and body disposal long before you're dead. Putting it in your will that you want your body scattered around Disneyland means squat in a will. And your executor has no legal reason to carry out such a stupid or illegal request. Joint tenancy property. Say you're married to your partner and you buy a house together. Then you cark it. If for some strange reason that you have said in your will that you want your brother to have your house, it's invalid. Because your partner has half share in it, they automatically are granted your share. You can't die and then expect to kick your partner out of the house because you put in your will that you want your brother to have it. Now, I found this whole idea absurd in a why would someone do that kind of a way. So I asked a lawyer who said that while not common, people do write this down more than you would think. And apparently half the time it's because they're just an arse and think they could get away with it. And the other half occurs because the individual assumed their partner would also be dead when their will went into effect. So forward planning is good, but maybe not that far ahead. Don't make any assumptions. Assets with named beneficiaries. Assets that already have named beneficiaries should not be left in your will. These beneficiaries often have payable or transfer on death agreements, which means that at the point of your death, the assets will be transferred to those named beneficiaries. These type of things include insurance policies, superannuation, joint bank accounts, pension plans, etc. There is no need to leave that in your will, as the policies already have legal obligations attached to them. Should you want to write down that these policies exist, just to give your next of kin the heads up once you're dead, you can always write down these details and store it in the same place as your will. Gifts with conditions. Many people wish to gift certain items to their loved one once they die. If you want to gift your car or a family heirloom, it's perfectly fine to do so, and that's part of what a will is for. But you can't add conditions to the gift, such as your loved one can only have the car if they continue their education. Like many things in life and death, there is only so much your opinion counts. Legally, there is no way this can be enforced, so it's best to leave these conditions out of your will because they won't be used. If you do want to state how your inheritance should be used, it is best to leave that money or item in a trust. This gives you more control even after you pass away and can be a good option if you're worried about a loved one squandering all the money away. We mentioned this in our So You Think You Don't Need a Will video regarding a loved one with addiction issues, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. Care for a loved one. It really is amazing how many people seem to believe that they can sort out all their issues just by putting it in a will rather than directly communicating with others. If you currently care for someone with additional needs or a disability, then you will want to know that they are cared for after you die. But a will is not the right place to do this. Remember, people aren't property and therefore not part of your estate. Instead, a trust would be a better option. And there are a lot of estate planning options out there that you can consider here, aside from a will, to ensure that your loved one is cared for. And because people are people and some people are assholes, let me make it very clear. You cannot legally manipulate someone into taking on the role of carer that they do not agree to, especially just by writing it in your will. Care of a pet. As just stated, the same thing applies to any pets that you may leave behind. And we brought this up as well in our other video. Some trusts will allow you to designate a beneficiary to care for your pet. Often, money or another asset is left to help cover the costs of the care of the pet. This means that whoever puts up their hand gets what's in the trust in order to care for said pet. Point being, you cannot just palm off your pet to whoever you like just by writing it in your will. They must agree to it. Also, speaking of pets, you might love your dog more than anything else in the world, but pets do not have the capacity to own property. So, think twice before leaving Rex the holiday home. And yeah, people really do try to do that. And that's got to be a real odd day at the courts. Sea burial. I'm giving this one its own point because I found it insane. So I came across this while researching our What Happens If You Die on a Cruise Ship video a while back. And apparently for a while there, it was going around all the cruise lovers' social media pages about how you should write in your will that if you die on board, they should give you a sea burial right off the side of the cruise ship. Now, we will never know which moron started that craze, but it certainly wasn't the brightest bulb in the box. Now, in case it wasn't obvious, even if you die of natural causes on a cruise ship, there still needs to be an investigation to prove that it was natural causes. Secondly, a sea burial cannot just happen anywhere, and it has a lot of requirements attached to it. And go see our Ways to Dispose of a Body video for details on that one. And thirdly, a cruise line is a business with no legal right to participate in funeral rituals such as that. Anything you don't own. Again, another one that I thought was obvious, but apparently not for everyone. You cannot gift anything that is not entirely yours. So leased vehicles, hired items, things you co-own, including a business, cannot be included. Yes, if you co-own a business, you cannot just gift your share to anyone you fancy. And if you think you can, how much respect did you have for your business partner? I mean, you could be stupid enough to write it down in a DIY will, but there won't be any follow-through. Organ donor. This is another legal and timing issue, like a funeral plan. The chance to be an organ donor has a very short time period attached to it. And if you are in hospital, chances are your loved ones aren't back at your house rummaging through all your paperwork to find your will. I would hope. Also, even if you do put it in your will, your family can object. Instead, you should register at Donate Life, and you will receive a card like this to keep in your wallet to tell everyone your stance. And I'll put a link to their website in the description. It is an incredibly easy thing to do. Leaving gifts or money for illegal purposes. Although this is uncommon, some people will try and sneak in some sort of legal condition or purpose for the gift. Not only will it not be carried out, but it will also make the rest of your will invalid. So recently I got my will updated, and out of curiosity, I asked the lawyer there what was the stupidest or weirdest thing that someone had ever tried to put in the will that she'd seen. And she said that some bloke tried to write that the money from his estate should be used to hire a hitman to kill his ex-wife. It wasn't put in the will, and the lawyer reported her concerns to the police. And there are so many ridiculous plot holes in that idea, but yeah, don't try to put anything illegal in your will. Jesus Christ, there are some weird people out there. So there you have it, 10 things that can't be included in your will. Some people will try to include them simply because they think that is what a will is for, and others apparently because some people have no common sense. But anyway, there you go. Go and write your will. And please like and subscribe. Go Talk Death.